Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a fantastic day. As always, a like, a comment, or subscribing, all of these things do help out the channel and they're all very much appreciated. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. It says Bitcoin and major altcoins are nearing a local bottom. Here's when a rebound is expected. Welcome back to another people have no idea where this market is going. Once again, a day filled with roller coaster price news. At the time of me making this video right now, Bitcoin and Ethereum, as they're usually the main focus of the market, have gone up a little bit, roughly around 2 to 3%. We are where we were just a couple of days ago. I have still a strange feeling we are in some type of a tight price range when it comes to the movements. We seem to hit near $38,000 per Bitcoin. We move back up to around 39,000. We get really close to 40,000. And then we fall back down once again. The same exact thing is happening with Ethereum. A lot of people are expecting some type of major price movement over the course of this week. It says technical analysis. Ethereum recovers, but ETH must clear this key resistance. It's $3,000. I don't even have to go over the article. They're saying that if Ethereum can actually clear a certain hurdle, if you will, and remain above it, the same exact news that we've been getting for Bitcoin and that we got for Bitcoin before, that if Bitcoin goes above around $41,000 or $42,000 and stays above said number, this should signal some type of an actual reversal in the market. It says Ripple price analysis. Bulls attempt a recovery above 60 cents. Good luck there. It says Ethereum reclaims 2,800 as price action rebounds from $2,700. I have a weird feeling I give it by the end of this week, we will be seeing much lower prices simply because this doesn't feel like it. If you haven't been here before, if you are new to the market, and I mean less than 3 months, you haven't seen any actual real price movements, you can feel in the air. It is palpable. You can touch it. When the market is actually going up, you can feel the greed. You start getting calls and text messages from your friends who want to know how to get into the market. You start putting more money into the market than you did before. You can feel it actually in the air, and it doesn't feel like that right now, regardless of the 2 to 3% rise that we are currently seeing. If we got to a $45,000 Bitcoin and Ethereum was at 3,400 or something, that's when you would start to feel, hey, this might actually be an actual price reversal. This one says Bitcoin is witnessing unprecedented spot buying despite a sideways trading motion. This was said by on-chain analyst Willy Woo. We've been going over this for a long time. It is quite easy in many different facets to manipulate people's view on something, to let them think that something else is happening when something else is actually taking place behind the scenes. On-chain analyst Willy Woo says Bitcoin is seeing historically unparalleled spot market demand despite the underwhelming price action that has unfolded over the last several months. The popular analyst told his 1 million Twitter followers that institutional capital is pouring into Bitcoin, while Bitcoin's price action is emulating the late 2022 action that we saw just before the crypto markets went on massive rallies. I am going to tell you from all the information, I feel like a gigantic database. All the information that I've accumulated over the last 6 months, here's what it feels like is going to happen. I do not know explicitly, but hear me out. I think this week or the next week, we are going to see a massive drop in price. Something very dramatic. I think I even have some of the other numbers around here as well. And I'm talking about like getting near $30,000. A lot of people who are new to the market will begin to liquidate, as this always happens. The whales, this is something that I thought was a joke 5 or 6 years ago, but it's so obvious now. They shake the tree for all the leaves and for all the apples to fall down, and then they buy the tree for themselves. They want you out of the market because the more you are out of the market, the more that they can accumulate at a lower price and basically, do whale things. The amount of actual accumulation that we've been seeing is far too heavy to not have an actual effect on the price. And I think he even explains a little bit of it here as to why it appears that the prices are actually moving down. Now, once again, if I'm wrong, I'm sorry. My crystal ball is broken. It hasn't worked in about 95 years. But once again, I think by the end of this year, we should be above a $70,000, $80,000 Bitcoin. I think the high hopes of a $200,000, $300,000 Bitcoin are totally possible. I was looking at the actual charts from this date in 2017, and around this, I'm still getting the same feelings, if you will. This really weird, prices have gone up, but they're starting to move sideways and or go down. A lot of people aren't really that optimistic with the market, and I looked at where prices were. Ethereum was still less than $100 this day in 2017. And then the same exact thing with 2020 and the same exact thing with 2017. It was this really weird reversal. Everyone was like, oh, the market went up. That's kind of cool. Everyone lost hope. And then for the rest of the year, we saw this hyper movement upward. Can it hit 200, 300,000 for Bitcoin? Sure. I mean, anything can happen this year. Dinosaurs might come back Jurassic Park style, but no one actually knows. But I feel like we are really on the verge of something happening, but I think we need for the others, the week's event that is currently going to happen has to actually take place. He says Bitcoin's price is sideways because Wall Street is selling futures contracts. Yeah, I know someone out there just went, oh, yeah. Selling futures contracts in a macro risk-off trade. Meanwhile, institutional money is scooping up spot Bitcoin at peak rates and moving to cold storage. For those of you who didn't get that, the news that we had in 2017 was that the Bitcoin futures market was going to change the world. Bitcoin's price was going to go to new all-time highs because now institutions would also be able to bet on the price of Bitcoin in their own way. However, it was only allowed through in the United States as a way for people to be able to bet against the price of Bitcoin. If you remember the old days of 2018, 2019, and maybe even the beginning of 2020, there was another topic taking place at the beginning of 2020, so didn't really quite make the news. And I'm sure some of you remember this, we used to have news nearly every Friday. Remember when Bitcoin kept on selling off and we kept on getting the news that Bitcoin was selling off because people were selling off their futures? I don't know why we were told or subjected to the fact that people selling off Bitcoin futures denominated in a number on a screen based in US dollars had to do with the fact of our market. Every time that they sold off their futures was some type of an indication of a negative price movement for Bitcoin. But alas, that was a narrative we were given, and we had to deal with it. The idea of people still being able to sell off their futures contracts on Wall Street, showing some type of a negative sentiment in the Bitcoin market, and therefore Bitcoin sells off, makes total sense. Because this years ago would have made, I would have been like, you sound absolutely insane. But the news that we get about the hyper correlation that we have between the cryptocurrency market and the stock market would kind of make a lot of sense when you kind of put all the puzzle pieces together. I think Wall Street has found a way to manipulate the market in their own special way. And it's a way we keep getting news about accumulation. How long have we been going over this for the last 2 to 3 months where I'm like, well, the accumulation is happening. Shouldn't prices be higher? It makes so much more sense now that, of course, behind the scenes, people are selling off derivatives or anything that they can to make it seem like the actual sentiment of the market is very low. While we keep getting news that there's less and less Bitcoin on exchanges, that the actual amount of Bitcoin in cold storage or wallets that we deem also to be cold storage that have only had inward transactions and have never sold outwardly continues to rise rapidly as well. He said, it looks like these I remember in the Q4 2022 supply shock squeeze. There's going to be a supply shock at some point. I think it's because we have not seen one recently. It seems almost like a fairy tale in some sort of way. Yeah, sure. but the numbers have to make sense at some point. This is probably the most logical one that I've seen in a long time, simply because in 2018 and 2019, anytime, you must remember this, anytime that Bitcoin's price had a 4 or 5% drop, it was because we were seeing Bitcoin futures tank, completely fall down. There was a massive sell-off, no reason as to why it sold off, and our price would mimic it until we got to around next Monday, when I think a lot of the contracts restarted and people were buying up tons of the futures contracts at a lower price, and therefore Bitcoin's price was also rising. And it still made no sense then, and it don't make no sense now. Same exact thing with why Bitcoin's price would have to drop if we don't have a Bitcoin ETF. But alas, I think if the narrative is set in stone in this sort of way, and enough people believe it, and Wall Street has enough money to be able to move the futures markets, at least this is what seems relatively believable. We're going to get to the actual big part. It says Bitcoin revising the odds of hitting $372,000 after its latest correction. The news of a correction, I don't think we've actually hit that yet. I don't think us going around $39,000 is a correction. I think us people being in the market and being terrified of Bitcoin rocketing downwards to $30,000 is going to be the actual correction, and that's when we figure out exactly where the actual floor bottom is. Once again, I told you, like in other videos, would you buy Bitcoin at 30,000? Would you buy Bitcoin at 20,000? If Bitcoin started falling near $900, would you liquidate your bank account to buy up all the Bitcoin? So this is the moment that I think that we need to see. When does Bitcoin become too cheap for people? And exactly when do they hit the button to start buying in mass? It says our altcoins prone for a massive correction this week amid interest rate hikes. Yes, absolutely. This is what I think the entire market is waiting for. This is the news that we got 3 weeks ago, and we continue to see nearly every other day. It appears as if the Federal Reserve is going to be raising the interest rate this week. That's the news that I can see from around the way. I don't have an exact date. I think, isn't it normally on a Wednesday? I don't really actually know or care. The entire idea being, inflation is far too high. We've seen inflation rates of, 8.5%, which is, it's actually a lot higher than that. But 8.5% in the United States. I think Europe just also got theirs between 8 to 9% for the euro. And all the other countries that were already dealing with a 22% inflation rate, we can only assume that theirs is also a lot higher as well. The idea being the US dollar is the world's reserve currency, so they have to reel it back in. And the way that they're assuming that they can reel it back in is by raising interest rates. So one of the numbers that I actually saw is somewhere around here that there are rumors that is going to be raised by 75 basis points. That is 0.75% on top of the 0.25/0.50 that we currently have. We were very close to 0%. We were at 0. It was 0 to 0.25%. During the Roro. But alas, this is the idea that they have for cooling off the market or making sure that inflation doesn't destroy the US dollar. This has terrified investors for whatever reason that they might actually have. I hope, and I mean an explicit hope, just so we can kind of stop talking about this one particular topic. It's always something every single year that's kind of the focus of every single market. I hope it happens this week, because we need a complete flush out of the market then. Every single market. If we are tied to the stock market, flush us out. Let's get back to a $28,000 Bitcoin. Let's have everyone completely panic. Let's start everyone a week and a half later, because it always happens this way. Everyone panics. A lot of people begin to sell off. People forget why they sold off. They see that Bitcoin has gone back up to 29,000 and they go, I got to buy back in. Same exact thing happens with stocks. It happens all the time for every single market. This is meant to be a hyper aggressive rate hike. We typically hear of a 25 basis point rate hike, and therefore a 75.1 is meant to be like, whoa, what do they think they're doing? So I don't have an exact date. Is this also one as well? Yeah, it says next week. Oh, geez. Hopefully it's this week. No. It says this Wednesday. Perfect. It says with an aggressive Fed rate hike expected next week, stocks and crypto markets lose billions. Wonderful. We need to jump over these hurdles. We've had so many of these events before where the cryptocurrency market is waiting for one particular event to take place. And we have to wait 5 or 6 months for that event to take place. And leading up to it, the entire market is shaky. And this also works in the inverse as well. We've had many times before where the cryptocurrency market is kind of like, everyone's looking at it with a side eye. We have some upgrade, some update happening on some major chain. Prices begin to like shake, but upward because, the anticipation is there. There's always an event happening in this space. And this just happens to be this one. So I hope they go as aggressive as possible for our sake. If we keep getting news that the market has to fall, by golly, do it right now. I'm tired of waiting. I don't have 9 more weeks to wait for the Fed to do something else. If you're going to be aggressive, be as aggressive as possible. Let all the markets fall because human greed is a fantastic, not a fantastic thing. It's a, what's the word? It's a weird thing to see. People forget very quickly. There's also a story in here as well about greed and people not paying attention. Very quickly. A week and a half after prices have dropped across the board, people are going to go, well, I got to make money. And people start buying up once again. So that's the price news as it stands right now. Bitcoin and Ethereum are currently up by roughly around 2%. The market's waiting for this move. I'm sure we are going to get some crazy stock market news as we've been having tons of calls for a recession, a mega recession, or some people are even saying the D word, the depression that may also be around the corner. I think a lot of depression news or recession news we've been getting is sometime in mid 2023, but time moves forward and all that. That's all the price news that we have right now. And without further ado, let's move on. Next up, this is the third most popular news story of the day. Warren Buffett has stated that he would not accept buying all of the Bitcoin on the planet for only $25. Speaking at the Berkshire Hathaway annual shareholders meeting on Saturday, renowned American billionaire investor, that's a long title for him, Warren Buffett argued that Bitcoin has a number of deficiencies and he doesn't see any value in the cryptocurrency. The Berkshire Hathaway CEO believes Bitcoin does not produce anything valuable or tangible, whether or not its price goes up. According to him, the cryptocurrency is a passive asset and investors buy and hold it, hoping that its price will increase in the long run. Remember when I told you all, and this was as recently as last week, I don't understand the fascination with the rich. I don't understand people hating them, but yet loving them at the exact same time. I don't get why this person who is not in our market has so many people swarming around him still looking for some type of financial advice on his part. Warren Buffett is around 938 years old. That wasn't a joke. Like, I'm actually sure if we did carbon dating, we'd explicitly see that he's around 1,000. Why do so many people care what he has to say? Him and Charlie Munger, or anyone else, or what's other face guy? The guy Jamie Dimon, or what's the other one? Peter something, Peter Gold. I'm calling him Peter Gold forever. The guy who is obsessed with gold and who has been talking about for the last 7 years that Bitcoin is going to zero and that gold is going to $10,000 per ounce. How often do these people need to be proven wrong for us to finally be like, yeah, let's stop listening to them completely. This was so popular. I don't even have a comeback or a joke or any little quip to say about that. Who cares what Warren Buffett, who cares? Can you imagine if you were going to go buy some real estate And Warren Buffett was like, I don't like real estate because it's made out of wood and wood smells sometimes and it gets termites. And you're like, I think Warren Buffett's right. I can't go invest in that property. Why do we let these people control our lives in every single aspect? I mean, also politically, why do we let them have so much power? Why do we let them dictate what we can and cannot invest in? If people had listened to Warren Buffett back in 2014, 2015, which a lot of people did, and they didn't buy Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies back then. I remember getting into I've known a number of investors, I don't talk to these people anymore, who were really, really heavy just on stocks, just on ETFs, or just in gold. I mean, they were, really only in one corner. And when I told them that I was thinking about getting into crypto, it seemed fascinating. It was brand new. Maybe it has some type of a future. Two of them laughed at me, and then all three of them collectively in their own time told me, well, Warren Buffett says it's garbage. This person says it's so-and-so. And they were naming all these other banking criminals, as if these people held any weight and hadn't tried to destroy the world in 2008 and 2009 and probably even previously before that we don't know about. And it's like, I don't care what these people have to say. And the only reason I'm showing you this is because it is the third most popular news story of the day. I wonder what the cryptocurrency space would be like if every time that someone became a billionaire, they were just simply muted. We didn't hear about them anymore because we don't need billionaires in the space and we don't need them telling us where the market is going to go. I assume that by the time in the future times, when Bitcoin goes to $100,000, we are going to have a conversation with Warren Buffett once again and Charlie Munger sitting on a stage being like, well, it doesn't produce anything. I don't think that Bitcoin... Who cares? Why do you care what these men have to say? Why do you care what anyone has to say? It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, so that's the Warren Buffett news. I look forward to hearing more from him as Bitcoin's price rises. I'm surprised he hasn't said anything about NFTs or metaverses or anything, digital land. We didn't have digital land back in my day in the year 628. We only had real land. We had real dirt and radishes. I don't know. I haven't heard him speak recently, but I assume that's what he sounds like. That's the Warren Buffett news. He's almost 1,000. Who cares? All righty. Let's move on. So here's the other most megaless popular news story of the day. I'm see if any of the text here good. Yeah, sure. Yuga Labs, the startup behind the Bored Ape Yacht Club, that's valued at $4 billion, had its highly anticipated Other Side metaverse mint on Saturday night, clogging the Ethereum mainnet and sending gas prices to shocking heights. In less than 24 hours, Yuga Labs generated more than $561 million, almost $600 million just from selling the actual NFT land. It says what NFTs are. Sure. Some 55,000 NFTs were minted at around 305 ape coin each, which means each piece of land cost around $5,800, given ape coin's price back then. Yuga Labs raked in over $318 million from this mint alone. If you are following me on Twitter, you saw that I was a bit, what's the word? I wagged my finger at the price of the land. And a lot of people were saying it's no different than Decentraland or Sandbox land prices. Yeah, but Decentraland and Sandbox land started out around $50, $150, $200 for every piece of land. And over time, they rose higher. $5,800 per piece of land was incredibly restrictive. A lot of, and it'll always be this way, no matter where you are. The cryptocurrency space tends to, it's for the rich, for the rich, for the rich, by the rich, for the rich. If you understand, I mean, that was pretty clear. I wasn't speaking in another language. A lot of people, so I'm going to tell you most of the saga that I saw unfolding on Twitter, on Instagram, and all these other places. Apparently, the only way to get part of the white list, that is to say, the list of people who were able to mint this early enough, is that you had to actually own one of these apes. Logically, it's called the Bored Ape Yacht Club. It's their metaverse. It makes sense that if you have one, you'd be able to mint earlier. A lot of people who were, however, here's the kicker, were stating that, now this is what I've seen on Twitter. I do not know if this is true, but I saw about 15 people complaining about it, is that apparently people actually paid huge amounts of money to actually buy an ape or buy a mutant ape. And then they actually, if they weren't on the whitelist, they were actually able to pre-mint or something mint or stand in a queue, stand in a line to be able to mint one of these pieces of land. However, the demand was so high that gas fees began to rise. And I mean rapidly. Like, if you remember last year, we had a situation where Ethereum gas fees, I remember when I was first making NFTs, I think they were around $8, and it went to like $16, $64, $128. And then I was like, okay, I can't mint anymore because it's way too high. I tried minting one morning, and I think it was around $800 just to mint something. And I was like, okay, no. People were saying that during this entire event, the blockchain got so clogged up that some people were actually reportedly paying around $2,000 to $3,000 just to pay for the gas fees to stand in line. And I saw multiple people showing screenshots all over Twitter. I'm sure you can still find it. I'm sure people are not too happy about it. The craziest part was, allegedly, is that tens of thousands of people were standing in that line after having paid $2,000 to $3,000 for gas fees and did not get anything. They got no piece of land. They got nothing. So there was a huge amount of energy last night on Twitter and the interwebs, with people being very, very upset because allegedly a lot of people who got in early were buying up multiple pieces of land. Whether any of this is true, I don't know, but Ethereum gas fees actually completely skyrocketed when this mint went live. It says Ethereum burning spikes to a new high on Yuga Labs' NFT hype. Where's the actual? I think one of them has actual numbers. Majorly disrupts the Ethereum network. We definitely got that part. It says 2,000% of Ethereum's hourly issuance was burned. I mean, the burn rate completely skyrocketed. The fees also jumped up as well. I've also seen rumors. I don't know if this is true. Probably. Let's go with rumor that apparently they're going to be looking into making their own blockchain as well, because Ethereum isn't it. There are just so many things tied together, and I think it makes no sense why this was not done on Polygon. Anybody with me? I feel like you would have had, even if congestion happened on Polygon, you probably would have had a $15 gas fee, as opposed to the $0 on Polygon. But everyone does stuff in their own right. So this is I want to say second, 2.5. I have no idea where to really place this on the popular news of the day. A lot of people are very upset they didn't get their land. A lot of people apparently were dumping their apes back onto the market the moment they didn't get any land because they were very upset. I can't imagine spending $600,000 for the potential chance to be able to buy an NFT and then paying $3,000 for gas and not getting anything. It does not sound nice. So yeah, this was one of the most popular news stories that we've ever gotten. A lot of people are going completely crazy over this. A lot of the land prices are already spiking, and you know the news. So, and also, I don't know if it has it here. I don't think so. Apparently, the people who were mining Ethereum, I think they made $85 million in like a couple of hours just from, just from the actual fees on the network. Can you imagine making $85 million in like an hour or two? Must be nice. That's the Ethereum news. And yeah, Let's move on. Here's the most popular slash most controversial news story of the day. So I don't even think I really have to read through a lot of this. The title says, Solana suffers its 7th outage in 2022 alone as bots invade the network. So this appears to be still unfolding. I recently commented on this on Twitter as well. I had a slight glimmer of hope. Sorry for the dramatic pause, by the way. I had a slight glimmer of hope for Solana. I myself do not own any Solana, like zero. I will tell you explicitly, I don't own any. But I've been looking at it simply because so many people keep talking about how amazing and cool this coin is. You know, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me 7 times, that is definitely my problem. Because I was even thinking about looking to get into this actual coin. No, this is my opinion. This is no one else's opinion. Something is clearly inherently wrong with this project. Even long ago, where I made fun of Tron, you remember the good old days. I made fun of Tron, I mean incessantly, because it's just a terrible project. But even Tron wasn't having outages. Tron didn't have 7 outages in 2017 alone. The news apparently is Solana allegedly had too many transactions at once. It says 4 million per second. Apparently, it was way too much for the network, and the network clonked out. It wasn't working anymore. Part of the problem is looking around, reading around, is that the people who are behind the scenes actually restarted the network. And I'm sure at least 5% of you, your ears perked up, because you can't restart a blockchain. You can restart a database, but a blockchain cannot be restarted. It can be continued. The previous blocks still remain. They don't get restarted. There are a lot of people. I don't know if I have any of the screenshots, maybe somewhere around here. People, no. This has all the nicer stuff. People talking about that their transactions were canceled. They had a lot of pending things for a couple of hours. Why was everything taking so long? The news floating around is, and any type of support that I had for this coin has completely, and I'm shocked that it took me so long to even realize that there's something amiss here. I've thought for a while, and I told you all this before, there are a lot of corporation coins, and I think that Solana is one of them. There's also Tezos, and there's Algorand, and a bunch of other coins that were created behind the scenes by companies and corporations funding and backing, and they were released onto the network as some type of a brand new Ethereum rival, challenger, destroyer, get rid of her type of thing. But a lot of these coins have faded into obscurity because they were complete garbage from the get-go. But Solana has managed to hold on to this position of people being like, whoa, Solana's really great, but it's also very easy to just hire people to talk on social media about, and you can hire them, talk about how great some coin is and how amazing it is and how much better it is in Ethereum without it actually being that much better. So, yeah, I am done with the coin. I don't even own any. I was thinking about getting some, but as far as talking about it, because I made sure, because a lot of times I see people discuss in the comment section, hey, why aren't you talking about this coin? This coin is actually pretty cool. Why aren't you talking about this? So I try to give other coins a chance every now and again. The same exact thing with Cardano years ago. I wasn't talking about Cardano, but Cardano has relatively, not price-wise, but has proven itself. Cardano hasn't had one outage this year. Nonetheless, a 7th one just this year. There are also tons of other 51% attacks, and the network continuously keeps crashing. You cannot restart a blockchain. Like it kind of, it may have a slowdown, but it definitely continues. So yeah, I don't really know how to end this story here, but something isn't right with this at all. Even weirder, and I know that this is my opinion. I know that there's some kind of manipulation happening, because after this news came out, Solana's price actually went up. Can you imagine any company? Think of any company on the stock market. Think of Pepsi. Imagine Pepsi having and I mean, I can't even think of anything dramatic enough. Imagine something absolutely deplorable. Whatever's going through your head, that's what happened. And then their stock going up doesn't really make a lot of sense. And I meant to say this at the beginning of the video. I'm so sorry. I completely forgot. To the person who I ran into on the street over the weekend, hello to you. You never sent me an email. I forgot to say that at the beginning of the video. And so that I know that it's you, try to write in the email what we were discussing. So, yeah, I meant to say that at the beginning of the video, and then I completely forgot because of all the price news. So, yeah, the really weird part is Solana is going to probably continue to be popular until maybe October, November, when a brand new coin is going to pop up. And they're meant to be the new Ethereum, blah, blah, blah. And then Solana will probably fade away as well. If this isn't ringing alarm bells that for the 7th time this year, their database has had a problem. And I'm not going to say blockchain anymore because, anyway, that's the Solana news. Something's wrong there. Something's not right. Let's move on. As always, a very special thank you to my Patreon supporters, GBU, Wally, Bubble Mode, How's Life Austin, Auspicious Agile and Blockchain, Jamie Saad, Blockchain Simplified, and let's move on, Empire Queen, Fud Weiser, Roman Geba, Bitcoin Ben Arachno, Dave, Tony Ambroski, The Dealers, Den, Captain Something, and the Z-Way Lay, Mo Barazi, VB Nerd 21, Miguel Groulet, Lauren De Silva, Quoted Biddy, Troy Allgood, Space Case, Need a Miracle, Paternoster, Navarro Williams, Utopia 569, Moonman High, XRP, Martin Steuer, Nostromo, John Sarson, The Anima Reader, A Bibliophobia, Todd, Mullis, Adam, Graysick, Wise Night Owl, 242 to the World, Bankroll Network, Crypto Artist, Cold D3D, Setsuna, Richie Rich III, Paxis, Nick Mangialavori, Jim Gardner, Jeremy Fox, Minting Coins, Yes to Crypto, Bodie McBoatface, Anytime Fitness, Monk's Corner Staff, Bake Me a Cake, Tigara Macho Nisa, On Crypto with Lionel, and Creole and Michelle, URL. Thank you all very, very much for your continued support. Thank you to everyone who is a member of the channel. Thank you to everyone who left a like, who has commented, who is a clicker of affiliate links. Thank you for all the art support. In general, I was going to say over the last week, but thank you so much. And yeah, at the moment, Bitcoin is at 38,993 US dollars. It is up by 2.69 percentile points. This doesn't feel like it. This doesn't feel like the movement upward for Bitcoin. This doesn't feel like we're going to be staying over $41,000. I think we're still in that triangular trend. And we're probably, everyone brace yourselves, probably more than likely going to be seeing some downward movement as we get closer to Wednesday, and actually even on Wednesday, until we hear exactly what the Fed has to say. Then I think at that point there should be no other negative news that we were getting, because if you remember all the other world things that were going on that everyone was terrified about but is no longer talking about, and like they're multiple, it's not just one. Now the main focus is just the Fed raising rates. So once we get past that hurdle, we should logically have nothing else negative in front of us. Solana is up by 1.45%. XRP is up by 6%. Terra Luna is up by 3.5%. Cardano is up by 3%. Anything spectacular? Polkadot is up by 3 as well. Near Protocol is up by 11 in the last 24 hours. Tron is up by 15% in the last week. Is this based off of their stablecoin news or something like that? I don't really. Litecoin is up by 4. Chainlink is up by 1. Apecoin is down by 4%. Based off of from what I can tell, the negativity from the actual event. A lot of people were not very happy about buying tons of $6,000 worth of Apecoin and they're not getting anything. So a lot of people are liquidating right now. I'm still going to be buying. I'm just going to tell you that. I will be completely honest with you. I feel like something is going to happen with this project. And once again, negativity doesn't last forever, especially not in the cryptocurrency space. In 3, 4, 5 weeks, if we get any type of news that these pieces of metaverse size NFTs are selling for 5 times what they were before, and the only way to buy them is with ApeCoin, we're going to see a surging momentum once again, especially if you are only able to buy things within their metaverse with ApeCoin. So you kind of get once again, not financial advice, is simply what I'm going to be doing. I feel like it has a lot farther to go, especially if this project does remain huge and they get their own movie and TV show and all this other stuff that we've been hearing about. Algorand is up by 3. Ethereum Classic is up by 3. VeChain Thor is up by 5. I want you to even realize, as we're scrolling down this list, the amount of coins that we're supposed to have pushed Ethereum to the side, that we keep scrolling down, that are further and further down on the list, because I've passed by at least 8 of them already, that people told me and everyone was touting as, the next thing that was going to knock out Ethereum. Internet Computer is up by 2. Decentraland is up by 5. Sandbox is up by 5. I assume this is because people were like, let me go to the other metaverse. I don't. Theta is up by 4. Pancakes are up by 3. EOS is up by 3. Thorchain is up by 4. Phantom, it's not how you spell phantom. Phantom is up by 11.5%. And yeah, I do hope that you all had a great weekend. I hope it was fun, whatever you did. Hope you maybe got to relax a little bit. I didn't get to relax. I'm doing so many things at one time. I was working on extra videos. I was working on the money rules videos. I'm trying to have the scheduled every Tuesday and Friday for money rules videos. And I'm also secretly working on a 3rd channel, which will not be released for a while because life. But yeah, it's definitely coming. I do hope that you've all enjoyed. I do hope that you all are having a great day, a great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope that it is absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, and or supporting, and I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.